Chase Reynolds hated when the gravity flickered mid-coffee sip. The mug floated an inch off the table before splashing its contents across a stack of diagnostic schematics. He muttered under his breath, wiping the mess with a rag that had survived. More systems than most humans. Freedomport's Repair Base 7 was his kingdom, tight, cluttered, alive with tools and forgotten parts. And yet, nothing annoyed him more than when it acted up like this. He knelt beside the gravity generator, hand gliding across its casing, feeling for the signature buzz of instability. Sure enough, the microfractures in the containment core were back. It'd be another hour of welding at the molecular level, just to get the thing stable enough to keep his coffee grounded. But Chase didn't mind the work. Machines were simple. They broke. You fixed them. People, not so much. As he tested the generator's magnetic pulse, the bay door chimed. Chase groaned. Visitors meant one thing: interruptions. The sound of polished shoes on deck plating echoed in. Reynolds, came the dry voice of Marcus Webb, Freedomport's ever uptight diplomatic liaison. I need a favor. Chase didn't bother hiding the scowl. Last time you needed a favor, I ended up explaining to a Rigelian council why their sacred mineral was, in fact, radioactive. This one's different, Marcus replied, stepping into the bay like the smell of grease offended his soul. We have a VIP guest arriving. She's from the Haronier Consortium. Requires pre-contact biological and environmental inspection. Chase sighed, wiping his hands. You've got 10 other techs who can handle that. She specifically asked for you. That stopped him. Me, by reputation. Apparently, word of your miracle with Ambassador Keithver's life support made its rounds. Chase blinked. You mean the fix where I repurposed a vending machine, a distress beacon, and an old VR headset? Exactly. She asked for a human male technician, trained in interspecies protocol. That's you. Congrats. The paycheck was tempting. Diplomatic inspections paid triple, and Chase's rent had just gone up again. Fine, he said, grabbing his scanning kit. But if she starts glowing or chanting in hex, I'm billing for hazard pay. You always do, Marcus muttered as Chase followed him out. Freedomport's diplomatic Suite C looked like it belonged in a sci-fi magazine. Atmosphere perfectly Earth normal. Lighting adaptive. Furniture that morphed depending on who sat down. It was a far cry from Chase's grease-streaked bay. He always felt out of place here. He keyed the entrance. Miss Scheller, he called. I'm Chase Reynolds, here for the inspection. A melodic voice replied from the next room. 1 moment, please. I am nearly prepared. Chase set up the scanners, bioanalyzer, medical tricorder, and his trusty diagnostic tablet. Everything calibrated, all readings green, nothing unusual. Yet the door hissed open behind him. He turned, and forgot how to breathe. She stepped out like the room had been waiting for her. Nearly 6 feet tall, violet skin that shimmered like moonlight on water, and hair as dark as the void outside the hull. Her eyes were bright amethyst, and her attire clung in ways Chase suspected violated at least 3 station decorum codes, and yet she moved like she belonged to the stars. You are Chase Reynolds, she said, voice soft but confident. He fumbled for words. Yes. I mean yes, ma'am, Inspector. Me. Her gaze drifted down his tool belt and stained coveralls, then back up to meet his eyes. You appear suitable. He almost dropped his tablet. I am Erica of the Haronier Consortium, she continued. Let us begin. The inspection started like any other. Standard biological readings, environmental compatibility, allergy markers. The scanner hummed as it passed over her form. But as the readouts poured in, Chase noticed something strange. Her biology was shockingly compatible. Heart rate, respiration, atmospheric needs all within human ranges. Their species could cohabitate without issue. She wasn't just humanoid. She was biologically aligned in a way he'd never seen. You evolved under Conditions remarkably similar to humans, he murmured, still scanning. Yes, Erika said. We are highly compatible. Her tone made him look up. Their eyes met tanned. Something passed between them. Not data, not science. Something electric. Chase cleared his throat. Right. Reflex test, next. I'll touch different points with a sensor basic neural response check. I am ready. As he touched her forearm, his sensor beeped with results. Reaction. Time off the charts. Peak performance. But it wasn't the data making his pulse spike. It was her. Her calm, her poise, her gaze fixed entirely on him. He finished the tests and began packing up. Everything looks good. You're cleared for general station access. Then she said, according to Heraner law, the bonding ritual is complete. Chase froze. The what now? I am now your mate, she said simply. You inspected me. You touched me. You judged me worthy. The law is clear. His coffee mug slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. Oh, hell. Chase stared at the shattered mug on the floor, as if it might explain what he'd just heard. But no matter how he looked at it, the words hadn't changed. I'm your what? He asked, slowly turning back to the alien woman who stood as calm and regal as a queen giving orders. Mate, Erika repeated, her expression serene. According to Heraner law, physical contact during the examination, combined with your verbal approval of my compatibility, constitutes a formal bonding. He blinked. I thought I was running a medical scan, and I accepted your judgment, she said, stepping closer. Under our traditions, that acceptance completes the ritual. But I didn't agree to any ritual, he said, hands half raised, like he could physically backpedal the mistake. I thought I was checking for pathogens, not proposing marriage. Marriage is a legal construct. Bonding is deeper. It is recognition of mutual potential, sealed by touch and intention. I didn't have any intention, he snapped. You touched me. You said I was suitable. That was a medical assessment. Intent is irrelevant under Heraner custom, she said, gently but firmly. The ritual has been fulfilled. The bond is sealed. Chase stumbled back into a chair, gripping its edges. He'd spent the last 10 years avoiding anything permanent leases, pets, relationships longer than a month. And now, in a matter of minutes, he'd apparently married an alien princess. This wasn't happening, except it was. He pulled out his tablet and frantically flipped through the interspecies diplomatic protocols. There's got to be a section on cultural misunderstandings. Something about accidental rituals clause, loophole, maybe a cosmic undo button. There is no unbonding, Erika said, her voice quieter now, almost sad. To reject a bond once it has been sealed is to shame the bonded. Female. It is the gravest insult under our law. What kind of insult are we talking? Chase asked, already fearing the answer. Her eyes met his. War. He went still. Come again. My family would be honor-bound to retaliate. The insult would extend to my clan, my house, and your station. Chase's stomach sank over a misunderstanding. To them, it wouldn't be a misunderstanding. They would see it as a betrayal, a rejection of their daughter's worth. He stared at her. So either I stay bonded to a stranger I just met, or I risk interstellar conflict. Yes. He exhaled hard, rubbing his face. His brain felt like a machine, overheating. This had gone from awkward to dangerous in record time. He stood again, trying to regain control. Okay, let's say I go along with this. What does bonding actually mean? What are the responsibilities? Erika stepped closer, her posture softening. Traditionally, the bonded male offers protection, shared living, emotional and physical support. In return, I offer loyalty, care, and contribution in all aspects of your life. We are partners. Wait, so you're saying you're moving in? She nodded. Immediately. My quarters are barely big enough for me, Chase muttered. I sleep next to my workbench. Yum, adaptably. I will optimize the space. That's not comforting. We will also prepare for offspring, she added. Offspur what? No. I haven't even finished fixing the gravity stabilizer. She tilted her head slightly, studying him. Do you not find me suitable? That's not Luke. I'm sure you're a great person, alien, engineer, whatever. But I barely know you. Her expression shifted slightly. Then get to know me. Chase opened his mouth, then closed it. What was he supposed to say? That she was breathtaking. That her confidence terrified him. That part of him, some deep, dumb, irrational part, was already wondering what it would be like to wake up next to her. This is insane, he whispered. Perhaps, she said, her voice low. But it is real. The suite door chimed. Marcus Webb strode in, tablet in hand, eyes already narrowed. Reynolds, what the hell did you do? Chase pointed at Arakika. Asked her. Arakika inclined her head. I have completed bonding with Technician Reynolds, according to Hurranair law. Marcus paled. You what? She is now my mate, Arakika said simply. Chase threw up his hands. See, this is what I've been dealing with. Marcus's mouth worked without sound. Then he tapped furiously at his tablet. This can't be legal. This has to be reversible, right? Please tell me this is reversible. No, Chase and Arakika said at the same time, for very different reasons. Marcus sank into the nearest seat. I'm going to be fired, possibly arrested, maybe disintegrated. Chase glanced at Arakika. So, now what? She smiled, slow and confident. Now, we begin our life together. And, for reasons he couldn't explain, Chase felt something stirred deep in his chest. Panic, probably, but also something else. Marcus spent the next hour pacing the suite like a caged animal, muttering about treaties and career-ending headlines. Chase tried to follow his frantic explanations, but most of the words blurred into white noise. He could only hear the echo of Arakika's quiet sentence. Now, we begin our life together. The phrase felt impossible and, yet strangely solid, like a bolt locked into place. A soft chime cut through the tension. A shimmering hollow window opened in mid-air, resolving into the stern face of an older Hurranair male, with violet skin, a shade darker than Arakika's. His voice carried the steady power of someone used to ruling rooms. Daughter, he said. Explain. Arakika straightened. Father, the bonding is complete. I chose this human by right of first touch. Chase swallowed. Father, as in her royal father. He suddenly felt very underdressed and grease-stained. Coveralls. The Duke's gaze slid to Chase. Human, do you claim guardianship of my daughter? Chase managed to nod. Guardian, partner, something like that. A silver brow lifted, amusement flickering. Your courage is noted, yet there is an obstacle. Commander Torvasir has filed challenge. He cites a prior marriage contract. Eric shoulders tensed. That contract was never ratified. Torvasir disagrees, the Duke replied. Per ancient law, a contest of worth will decide who holds the bond. 3 trials: protection, provision, understanding. Marcus groaned. When his fleet arrives in 72 Earth hours. The holla faded, leaving silence behind. Chase blew out a breath. So, I have 3 days to beat an alien commander at tests I've never heard of. Arakika reached for his hand. Her warmth steadied him. Your ingenuity beat a failing life support ring with spare snack machines. You can do this. Snack machines don't shoot back, he muttered, though her faith sparked something fierce inside his chest. Asterisk, they relocated to Base 7, Chase's cluttered kingdom where Arakika spread blue glowing schematics across a workbench. Each diagram mapped Freedom Port's cargo decks, maintenance shafts, and auxiliary shield grids. We need a plan for Trial 1. Protection, she said. Torvasir will rely on brute force. You'll need unpredictability. Chase rubbed tired eyes. Station security, sims simulate threats. If I redirect emergency bulkheads at the right milliseconds, I can isolate every attacker without firing a shot. Erika's eyes lit. Turn the arena itself into your shield. That's the idea. He grinned despite himself. I'm better at doors than swords. Trial 2 provision was trickier. Torvasir commanded mines, factories, entire star systems. Chase had a repair bay and an overdrawn tool budget. What do I possibly offer next to that? Offer me, Erika said softly, tapping a schematic she'd hidden under the rest, a compact power cell array she'd designed during sleepless study nights. My mind, your hands, a partnership that creates new wealth, not inherited empires. Chase stared at the elegant design, simple, efficient, revolutionary. We pitch a company instead of an empire. Exactly. Provision through innovation. Trial 3 required understanding. That one Erika couldn't plan for. Him. You must show them you know my true self, she whispered. Not titles, not bloodlines, me. Chase squeezed her fingers. Then I'll study the most important machine I've ever met. **** hours blurred. Marcus shuttled in and out, with status updates, news, drones, sniffing scandal. Station command threatening evacuation, cafe vendors betting ration points on odds of war. Chase kept working, soldering micro-relays, while Erika recalculated energy curves and coached him on Heron ritual phrases. Night if the station's lighting cycle counted as night found, them sitting against a stack of crate housings, sharing instant noodles from the same cup. Erika tried the rubbery spirals, nose wrinkling, then laughed. Tastes like polymer, yet strangely comforting. It's tradition, Chase deadpanned, a mechanic's gourmet. Quiet settled between them, comfortable, heavy with thoughts unspoken. Finally, Chase voiced the fear, twisting his gut. What if I lose? Erika's eyes shone soft violet in the dim shop lights. Then I belong to Torvasir, and my life narrows to silence. But I will face that with dignity, because someone used to fight for me when you had every right to walk away. A lump rose in his throat. I'm not walking away. I know, she said, leaning her head against his shoulder. ** 72 hours shrank to 48, then 24. By then, every corridor whispered with rumors. A human mechanic challenging a warlord prince over an alien princess. Some called Chase brave, others called him doomed. Chase tried not to listen. He was too busy wiring backup capacitors into the cargo bay walls. On the eve of the contest, Marcus brought news of Torvasir's arrival. 43 battlecruisers slid into orbit's leak, lethal shadows against the stars. The site rattled. Station personnel, yet Erika watched them with steady calm. He relies on intimidation, she murmured. Remember, the greater the show, the more fragile the ego. Chase managed a grin. Here's hoping duct tape beats ego. ***, that night, alone in Bay 7, Chase ran one last diagnostic on the rigged containment doors, all green. Still, doubt skittered around his head like loose screws. Protection, provision, understanding 3 trials to decide 2 lives. He set down the scanner, closed his eyes, and pictured the princess who had walked into his workshop and turned his world upside down. He realized he didn't just want to win to avoid war. He wanted to win because the thought of Erika's laughter falling silent felt wronger than any ruined machine he'd ever seen. He opened his eyes, rolled his shoulders, and whispered to the humming grav generator, "Tomorrow, we fix everything." Morning cycle lights flared to full intensity, turning Freedom Port's main cargo bay into a broad metallic arena. Rows of temporary seating climbed the walls. Humans, Tarsk, Rigelians, and half a dozen other species filled every bench, hungry for spectacle. Cameras hovered overhead, broadcasting the event across colonial space. Chase felt all those eyes like a weight on his shoulders, but the only gaze that mattered was Erika's steady, violet, unblinking in the VIP enclosure. Hey, gong sounded. Trial 1, Protection. A holojudge explained the rules in clear, galactic basic. Each contestant would keep a life-size hologram of Erika intact, while automated threats attacked from every direction. Damage to the projection meant lost points. Failure to keep her alive meant immediate defeat. Torvasir strode forward first, armor gleaming. He deployed energy shields in a tight dome, planted 3 turret drones, and stood in the center like a living wall. The simulation released seeker orbs, plasma darts, and razor drones. Torvasir's turrets thudded in disciplined bursts. His personal shield sizzled as it absorbed hits. He never moved more than a step. When the final drone crashed, his hologram remained singed, but standing. Polite applause rippled through the crowd. Chase exhaled and entered the arena, wearing only his patched coveralls, tool belt, and a thin wrist console. No shining armor, no weapons, just a battered maintenance kit slung over one shoulder. Murmurs swept the benches. Was the human suicidal? The judge reset the course. Chase tapped his console, and hidden relays under the deck responded with soft clicks. The hologram of Erika flickered to life beside him. Stay close and try to look fragile, he whispered. The attack began. Instead of standing ground, Chase grabbed the holoprincess's hand and sprinted toward a maintenance alcove. Overhead lights snapped off in staggered lines. Emergency strips glowed, dim red. The seeker drones lost target lock amid sudden darkness. Before they recalibrated, cargo bay blast doors slammed down in quick succession, thump, 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 hurting the drones into sealed cul-de-sacs like frightened animals. A few plasma darts still hissed through the shadows, but Chase had already rerouted the bay's atmospheric vents, sending a gale that knocked the darts off course and sucked them into disposal chutes. 30 seconds later, the threat timer expired. Not a single shot had touched the hologram. Silence. Then a roar, humans cheering, Ryselians clacking mandibles, even a gaggle of journalists gasping. Chase gave a quick bow to the galleries. Torvasir's eyes narrowed, glossy armor reflecting the stadium lights. Scores appeared above the arena wall. Torvasir 92.7, Reynolds 100. The warrior prince loosened his gauntlets, but kept his voice calm. Clever tricks. Protection is more than running and hiding. Chase smiled. True. Luckily, intelligence counts too. Another gong. Trial 2. Provision. Torvasir began with flourish. Holographic star maps unfolded, glowing systems linked in gold. Mineral yields scrolled beside agricultural outputs. Shipyards towered in three-dimensional relief. I offer sovereignty over 7 resource worlds, he declared, voice booming. My clan's fleet guarantees eternal security. My coffers hold credits beyond counting. With me, Princess Erika would want for nothing. Polite clapping again, this time louder, impressed by raw numbers. Chase felt his stomach flutter. How do you compete with half a galaxy of assets? His turn. He queued a single file. Instead of planets and factories, a compact workshop materialized: workbenches, scanners, scraps of alloy, and a coffee cup forever stained with grease. Lines of glowing text skimmed above each object. Innovation rate, repair, turnaround, cross-species, contract growth. Then schematics bloomed: Erika's power cell array, his gravity stabilizer patch, a joint proposal for sublight drive recycling. The figures weren't huge, but the graphs soared upward, alive with potential energy. Chase spoke, voice steady but clear. The princess does not dream of thrones. She dreams of creation. Together we build solutions no empire can purchase because they don't yet exist. We turn scrap into salvation and problems into profit. I cannot promise a palace. I promise a partnership that grows every day. We face the impossible. He tapped the key. A new projection spun. Reynolds Schiller, Technical Solutions, year-by-year forecast. In 5 years, the modest shop overtook medium shipping conglomerates. In 10, it edged into Torvasir's lower revenue lines. The crowd leaned in, no thunderous applause, yet murmurs of intrigue rose among economists and guildmasters. The judge tallied provision metrics, economic breadth, growth potential, strategic value, intellectual property. Scores flashed. Torvasir 98.3, Reynolds 97.1. The warrior prince stood taller, shoulders squaring. "We are tied," he proclaimed. "A final test decides all." Chase swallowed. Protection belonged to him. Provision tipped to Torvasir. Trial 3 understanding would be fought not with tech or treasure, but with truth. Erica met Chase's gaze across the arena. In that single look, he read fear, hope, and something fiercer than both: trust. The crowd noise faded. All he could hear was the pounding in his chest as the gong echoed a third time. Tomorrow, words would matter more than weapons. Torvasir strode to the center of the arena as the last gong's echo faded. Lights dimmed until only a single spotlight bathed him in cold white. A second beam waited for Chase, still dark. Between them hovered a fresh holomage of Erica, this one interactive. Sensors would judge each speaker's insight by monitoring the princess's real-time reactions. Whoever spoke first chose the order. Torvasir raised an armored hand without hesitation. He began with practiced certainty. He praised Erika's bloodline, detailing every ancestor who had led fleets or negotiated trade pacts. He listed her ceremonial obligations, her strategic marriage value, her duty to strengthen noble houses. His deep voice filled the bay with pride and iron tradition. When he finished, he spread his gauntlet palms. "I honor her by placing her where she must stand beside power, guiding legacy." The crowd applauded. The hollow princess offered a polite, shallow bow. Score 74. The second spotlight snapped on, revealing Chase in grease-stained coveralls and a fresh bruise on his cheek, kerned when a cargo crate slipped during last-minute wiring. He cleared his throat, voice caught by every mic in the bay. "Erika Schiller is heir to a great house," he said, "but that's the least interesting thing about her." Some listeners chuckled. Most leaned in. He spoke of the night she crawled through maintenance ducts at age 12, fixing a failing oxygen pump so the workers in that sector could breathe. He told them how she hummed under her breath when she calculated load balances, and how she filed design patents under a hidden alias because her tutors said engineering was beneath nobility. He recalled their first shared instant noodle dinner, and the way she laughed at the taste but finished every bite so he would not eat alone. While he spoke, the hollow princess reacted. Her shoulders straightened, her simulated heartbeats displayed the data for all to see. Chase's words were mapping to memories, not titles. "She is brilliant," he went on, "because she sees patterns most of us miss, and brave because she walked into a stranger's workshop to gamble on kindness. She doesn't need a throne. She needs space to build everything the rest of us said was impossible." Silence stretched long after he finished. The hollow princess approached Chase's projection and laid her hand over his heart. The scoring meter rose 80-90, a perfect 100. A murmur swept the audience, rolling into applause that drowned engines and ventilation alike. Lights brightened to full. The lead judge lifted a ceremonial rod. By unanimous adjudication, Chase Reynolds demonstrates deepest understanding. He struck the rod on the deck. The bond stands with the human technician. Torvasir's jaw clenched, yet he inclined his head, a warrior accepting lawful defeat. "Human," he said, voice taut but respectful. Your methods are foreign, yet the outcome is clear. Guard her well. Then he pivoted, cloak sweeping, and signaled his entourage. The prince left the arena without further protest, pride dented, but honor intact. Erica hurried down the steps, violet gown catching the light. Chase met her halfway, breath hitching as she clasped his grease-smudged hands. Around them cheers rose from every tier, engineers banging toolboxes, diplomats wiping relieved tears, dockhands whistling loud enough to rattle bulkheads. The station's AI chimed a gentle advisory that decibel levels were approaching structural tolerance. Marcus Webb stumbled over, eyes shining with disbelief. Reynolds, you just saved my job, and maybe human-Harania relations for the next century. Chase grinned. Put that in my personnel file under special skills. Marcus only laughed, shaking his head before rushing off to brief every news channel in the sector. Amid the chaos, Erica drew Chase aside, away from cameras. You spoke of who I am, she whispered, not what I'm worth. He brushed a stray strand of midnight hair from her face, fingertips trembling with adrenaline. Who you are is priceless. She leaned into him, soft lips brushing his, in a promise witnessed by glowing emergency lights and half the galaxy. 2 months later, Bay 7 was twice its original size. A new sign hung above the main doors. Reynolds Schiller Solutions. Impossible fixed, daily. Inside, humans and Haranier worked shoulder to shoulder, assembling portable fusion inverters for disaster zone outposts. The hum of collaboration filled the air, laughter, arguments, and Erica's gentle humming over a row of calibrating power cells. Chase entered with a crate of sensor coils. He paused, watching her direct 3 apprentices through an efficiency drill. She wore a simple work shirt flecked with solder burns, crown long since traded for safety goggles. Seeing her there confident, free, and entirely herself tightened something warm in his chest. She noticed him and smiled. Shipment for the mining colony on deck. He nodded, setting coils on a bench. And a message from Station Command. They've approved funding for our joint academy. First class starts next quarter. Her eyes widened with the bright excitement he loved. Engineers from 5 species, learning how to think like you. He tapped her schematics. Like us, he corrected. An alert pinged the central consola freighter, adrift near the solar rim. Life support failing. Erica tossed him a toolkit. Shall we? He caught it, grinning. Impossible problem. Naturally, she said. Together. They headed for the hatch, hand in hand, ready always for the next fix.